Bueno, vamos a escuchar estas declaraciones y voy a pasar ya al tema nacional de los Estados Unidos, de las elecciones fraudulentas, una de las elecciones posiblemente más fraudulentas de la historia de los Estados Unidos. Vamos a escuchar esto.
And I'm here as a volunteer. I am a lawyer, but I'm not acting as a lawyer in this case. I'm just helping out the legal team here. And going to explain to you the evidence that we have from State Farm Arena here in Fulton County, which goes to what Ray was talking about in terms of fraud or misrepresentation. So when that cues, okay.
Le voy a explicar, esto es una muchacha, una señora, que es abogada, pero en este momento ella no está actuando como abogada, simplemente está actuando como testigo de esta investigación que se está haciendo específicamente contra todo lo que ha sucedido en las elecciones presidenciales dentro de los Estados Unidos. Vamos para allá.
So it's going to be tough because I'm going to have to depart from the microphone and point out some things at times. You're looking at one big room here. This is where, according to our witnesses, who's given us sworn affidavits.
Ella está mostrando unos videos de vigilancia que se utilizaron para poder comprobar que sí existió fraude en las elecciones. Ahí están los subtítulos para que ustedes puedan leerlo también, ¿no?
This is where the absentee ballots and military ballots are being tabulated on election day.
Estos fueron los lugares donde todas estas boletas eran contadas en el día de las elecciones. Ahí lo dice.
So we have the tape from first thing in the morning all the way past the close of the polls.
Tenemos todo el tape o todo el video desde temprano en la mañana hasta que cerraron los lugares de votación.
What you have is essentially two Republican field organizers who were sent here to be observers. At no time were they actually permitted to observe in a meaningful way.
En primer lugar, usted tiene dos observadores del Partido Republicano que en ningún momento dejaron entrar para poder ver lo que estaba sucediendo. Ojo.
I'm sorry, I have a voice issue today. They are roped off with the press on the side. See if I can show you.
Te explicando lo que pasó, ¿no? Vamos a escucharlo. Quiero explicarles esto a ustedes. A ver.
Tell you what you could do to help us out so that everyone can hear who's live streaming. If you would tell us what you're going to point to and then go point to it.
Okay.
All right.
So now what will happen is these frames can move around. So this can get a little confusing, but I'll make sure to make it clear. We have two observers there that are going to show up, not at this point, this is in the morning, as you can see the daylight. They're going to get there at about 8 o'clock to watch the tabulation of absentee and military ballots.
Ellos llegaron a las 8 de la mañana para ver la tabulación, el conteo de estas boletas, de boletas ausentes y de boletas de los militares, o sea, militares que están en otras partes y no pueden ir a votar físicamente, envían estas boletas por correo.
But according to their affidavits, at about 10 o'clock.
Pero de acuerdo con affidavits, de acuerdo con personas que estuvieron diciendo, y ellos sobre juramentación, acuerdo de esas personas, por esas personas, después de las 10 de la noche había una persona trabajando en las urnas que les dijo a todos en las salas que se fueran. Le digo a todo el mundo, váyanse que yo me quedo aquí sola.
There was one person working the polls who told everyone in the room to leave on the basis they were going to stop counting.
Que se fuera todo el mundo, que ellos ya iban a dejar de contar las boletas.
And return at 8.
Y cuando volvieron a las 8 de la mañana, así que se pudo conseguir el marco.
30 in the morning. So if I can get the frame for approximately 10 o'clock or 10:20-ish. Okay.
Yes.
We'll have to come back to the morning for a different reason in just a second.
Ahí está moviendo, ¿no? Para que podamos ver nosotros la explicación. Ahí está.
Okay, so you can see what time it is. So we're at about 10 o'clock. And what you'll notice is that the workers are present, working, and you have, back in that corner I pointed out to you, the press and the Republican observers.
Ahí se ven cómo están trabajando con las boletas y eso.
So according to the witnesses, the Republican observers, there is a lady who has blonde braids who comes out to announce we're going to stop counting. Everyone go home. And in fact, we see that. What
O sea, que vino una muchacha y le dijo a todo el mundo, vamos a parar de contar, todo el mundo se puede ir para la casa, ¿no?
happens is everyone clears out, including the Republican observers and the press.
Todo el mundo, lo que pasó fue que todo el mundo se fue, incluyendo la prensa y los republicanos que estaban ahí.
But 4 people stay behind.
Pero 4 personas se quedaron adentro.
And continue counting and tabulating well into the night from that point, which is going to be about 10:25 when they all clear out, or 10:30. And they will continue counting unobserved, unsupervised, not in public view as your statute requires, until about 1 in the morning.
Ellos se quedaron contando sin nadie vigilándolo, sin nadie mirando, hasta la 1 de la mañana de ese día.
The reason we know this is because when our Republican observers were forced to leave, they went to the Central Tabulation Center.
¿Por qué se sabe esto? Porque los republicanos los obligaron a irse, ¿no?
And they got news from word from a news crew that in fact counting had continued. They have information that not everybody left according to plan, and some people stayed behind. So this shocked them, so they returned back to stay.
Lo que sucedió fue que personas se habían quedado y entonces ellos dijeron, bueno, si esta persona se queda, nosotros tenemos que regresar, ¿no? Para ver qué es lo que están haciendo.
Farm Arena at about 1 o'clock in the morning, where they confirmed that in fact people had just left State Farm Arena in contravention of what they've been told by the supervisors who are running this operation. So, okay, we're still at about 10 o'clock. Can you take us to about 10:25?
Vamos para 10:25. Vamos para las 10.
So we can see the change. You're going to watch this place be busy and filled up to emptied at some time between 10:25 and 10:35, which is consistent with what the affidavits say.
Vamos para.
Okay, so 10:25, they're still there. Let's go to 10:35.
A las 10:35.
It takes it just a few minutes for the frames to actually catch up with it. There you go, with the time that you're seeing. So here you see it's all cleared out. We just went from 10:25 to 10:37. The place is a ghost town. This is where the people were vacated and told, go home, come back at 8:30. We will now stop working and stop counting. But notice who stays behind. You have 4 people, consistent with our affidavits, who stayed behind. And so you'll see the lady in purple. You'll see 2 women in yellow in the back.
O sea, todo el mundo se había ido, los habían mandado todo para la casa, pero se quedaron estas 4 personas, la muchacha que está vestida de morado y las otras que están sentadas ahí eran 4.
Which is where the scanners are there at the top right frame. And then the lady with the blonde braids also, who told everyone to leave. Those are the 4 people who will stay behind. Observer's still there.
I just wanted to show you the USCCA's free concealed carry reciprocity and gun laws maps.
So the Republican observers said they were the last people to leave State Farm Arena along with the Fox News crew.
Los republicanos que estaban ahí dijeron que ellos eran los últimos que se habían ido junto con Fox News que estaba ahí en ese lugar. Pero sin embargo se quedaron estas 4 personas que no se sabe por qué se quedaron. Bueno, me imagino yo por qué se quedaron.
Accepting those 4 people. So what you're going to see, look at the ladies in yellow. You'll see that they will begin just sitting still, doing nothing, ostensibly not working, because after all, they said they're going to stop counting. They will wait until the witnesses over there in that roped off area, the press and the observers, leave the room. Then you'll see them move into action and begin scanning ballots.
Y empezaron a escanear boletas. Mira para aquí. Otra vez, escondido todo el mundo. Estoy mirando para acá, para este lado, porque está virada la cámara, pero
Okay, so I think what we can do now is fast forward to about 11. Do you see them? Yeah. Okay, there they walk. They're walking off. But the ladies in yellow are still there.
Ahí está. Las muchachas están vestidas.
Yes, keep your eyes on the lady in purple and the 2 in yellow and the woman in the blue apron with blonde braids, because those are the people who stay behind.
Miren esto ahora.
Okay, so what you're going to see happen at about 11 o'clock
11 o'clock.
is once everyone is gone, coast is clear, they are going to pull ballots out from underneath a table. Watch this table.
Miren, miren, miren. Mira cómo están sacando boletas de abajo de las mesas. Y después dice que no hay fraude, mira.
So actually this will take a few minutes, but we did not know when we first watched this, okay, is it normal to store suitcases of ballots under a tablecloth?
No
Is that how they run the place? Maybe this is what they've been...
Si ustedes ven las muchachas amarillo, ¿no? Cuando ellos están mirando los videos no se dan cuenta, pero será normal que haya escondido boletas abajo y que las estén sacando en este momento para contarlas. Eso no es normal, ¿no? Debajo, escondidas, tapadas.
Been doing all day. Maybe this is what they're doing under all the tables. So we went back and watched the video. It was a team of us. We don't see that.
Porque puede ser que esto lo estén haciendo el día entero y tú no te has dado cuenta, ¿no? Claro, esto es lo que podía hacer también. Y lo estamos viendo claramente aquí. Yo no estoy hablando nada. Yo estoy mirando lo que ustedes están mirando. Ojo, yo estoy, y después voy a poner esto solo para que ustedes lo vean. Esto es así. Vamos para allá.
What we see is typically you're going to find ballots, back in this corner, or coming in through a door, and then they get moved and circulated throughout the room. And it can get a little confusing because they have these black containers of ballots. They have the U.S. Postal Service containers. But what we were trying to do when we determined that there were ballots being pulled out from underneath this table is, what was the chain of custody? Where did they come from? Who put them there? When did they put them there? We only reviewed this at about 1 a.m. last night for a couple of hours. So we're going to need about 14 hours to watch it carefully because we fast forwarded through it several times. And could not find that particular frame, but here's what we can tell you for sure. At about 8 o'clock in the morning, we're going to roll this back and show it to you. There you go. So now they're going to start pulling these ballots out from under this table. This table, the black one, was placed there by the lady with the blonde braids at about 8:22 a.m. in the morning. So she put that table there. So the same person who's staying behind now, the same person who cleared the place out under the pretense that we're going to stop counting.
Es que ahí se ve el fraude. Yo no entiendo todavía cómo hay personas que dicen que no hay fraude. Mira cómo están sacando escondidas las boletas que tenían debajo de la mesa para contarlas.
Is the person who put the table there at 8:22 in the morning. Yeah, I saw 4 suitcases come out from underneath the table.
Mira el tipo vestido de rojo, mira, se arregla el pantalón, pum, saca la caja. Esto es un descaro.
Yeah, upper right hand, you see the gentleman in the red.
Sí, míralo ahí.
So he just pulled one out.
Y se llevó la caja por ahí para allá. Y se la da a la mujer que está vestida de amarillo.
So what are these ballots doing there, separate from all the other ballots? And why are they only counting them whenever the place is cleared out with no witnesses? Is the question. So these machines can process about 3,000 ballots an hour. you have multiple machines there, and they're there for 2 hours. So you do the math. How many ballots went through those machines in those 2 hours when there was no one there to supervise, to be present, consistent with your statutes and rules, to supervise the tabulation? We believe that could easily be, and probably is certainly, beyond the margin of victory in this race. Because if it's only 3 scanners working for 2 hours, right, that's 18,000 ballots that went through.
Me quedo sin palabras. No sé ustedes cómo están, pero yo estoy arrebatado. Yo estoy sin palabras también. Estamos
So
viendo
we're now
el
at
fraude.
11:09.
Ahí estamos viendo el
There
fraude.
were, in addition to the 4 workers that you see there were 2 other people who were bringing ballots in and out. The gentleman in red that you saw, and then a second person, I can't tell if it's a male or female based on their hair being pulled back in their mask, but in any event, that's 6 total people. And so if we were to sit here for the next 2 hours, what we would see is this operation just goes on and on and on.
Si nos vamos a quedar, vamos
They're
a ver cómo
scanning
sacan
until
boletas. Mira,
about
mira, mira la
12:55 in the morning. So we kept the video running. And, we can show you the people who gave us the affidavits reappearing at that time, just as they said, around 1 a.m. to find out, are they in fact counting after they told us they would stop working or not? And we will fast forward to that. But have you all seen as much as you'd like to see of what's happening here?
I think so.
I think you basically get the idea.
Unless any member wants to see more.
Or you have any questions?
No.
Yo creo, mi criterio, ¿no? Mi criterio personal, que con ver esto, yo nada más me tengo que preguntar y tengo que analizar y tengo que ver lo que sucedió. Esto no se trata, y el presidente de los Estados Unidos, Donald Trump, lo dijo ayer, esto no se trata de su persona como presidente, esto se trata de la legalidad de estas elecciones. Legalidad que muchos demócratas, incluyendo muchísimos republicanos también, quieren decir de que no hubo fraude. Que muchas cadenas de televisión están negando que hubo fraude. Pero en realidad se ve claramente, y esto es simplemente una muestra de las pruebas que se han presentado. Y no hay justificación. Se ve de que hay fraude en estas elecciones. Se los dejo. Voy a poner ese video también, solo el videito con las traducciones. Los voy a poner en unos minutos después que termine el programa para que lo puedan ver ustedes con calma. Aquí se ve el fraude que hubieron en estas elecciones 2020 en los Estados Unidos. Si no te gustan, no sé qué me vas a decir. Si esto para ti no es fraude, búscame. Dime lo que es. ¿No? Dime lo que es.